What's up, y'all? It's Rob back here again to empower you. Today, we're going to start with a story, simple story that we all can get behind. Boy meets girl, girl meets boy, and it's in high school sweethearts. And then they get together, they start a business, they have beautiful children, and they take the internet by storm. And if you don't know who we're talking about, by now, we're talking about Desmond and Kristy Scott. Might be different at this time, but it's a love story that we all were a part of. And it was a story that we're all rooting for. Who doesn't remember a ridiculous skit from Kristy and Desmond about their lives? And it grew from a very small and now to a full-fledged monster of a business. So definitely shout out to both of them. So if you don't live under a rock, Kristy and Desmond Scott are getting a divorce. So before we go any further, I want to have a big disclaimer. We don't know what happened in that relationship. So when we kind of talk about these topics, we always got to have that grain of salt of it's not happening to us. The relationship was public, but I still think there are things that we can learn and grow from this. Not from a messy standpoint, but from a standpoint of love and relationship, so we can grow and empower together. So just very briefly, so you all know, Kristy, from my understanding, is divorcing Desmond Scott due to infidelity. And this infidelity was on the heels of Desmond saying that he wasn't as happy in his marriage. And, allegedly or not, I think they're Jehovah's Witnesses. And, to get out of a Jehovah's Witness marriage, so I've heard, allegedly, I'm not sure, cheating. That's the only way that you can break up. So TMZ found out, they filed. Desmond came out with an apology confirming, and it's gotten to a respectfully messy position because everyone is saying what everyone should be doing. And at this time, I think the most important thing that we got to give credence to is we got to give our hearts out to the children, Kristy and Desmond. And the reason why I say them in those orders is because we were all part of their love story. We helped grow their empire. We helped contribute to, them, being who they are because they shared something very honest and genuine with us, and that was their lives. I think we can take for granted as we kind of get invested in people's celebrity and forget that both these people are human. So let's just start with the nutrients of what we can learn from this. I think what we can learn from this is just because we post and we smile and we do all the things doesn't mean that your life is perfect. These things we have right here are powerful tools, and great power comes great responsibility, whether you're a creator or not, or you're a consumer. Even I was caught off guard with this information because I could definitely say that they have a picture perfect marriage of what I thought it was supposed to be. And what this should teach you is we shouldn't pedestalize anyone. And what I mean by pedestalize is, even though these some of our favorite content creators, they go through real situations and they're going through real life problems. So just think about that real life problem that you're not posting. So let's start with the nutrients of what they portrayed. They portrayed a very loving couple. They portrayed a very happy couple. They portrayed a very linked family. Now, do I think that there were perfect moments within their marriage? Absolutely, of course. They made it this far. But also, what I do think is there are aspects where the communication fell flat. And where I think where the communication became flat is just clearly the signs of divorce, and then the signs of what Desmond was saying, that they were trying to talk and work through some things. Now, obviously, I do think relationships end, and there are unnatural and natural ways of doing it. And I think what happened is we all do this when we're in relationships. We think we understand without going in with the curiosity of not really understanding. And we struggle with what I would call availability bias when we know a person, but we really don't know a person. And that means we assume we know what they're doing without really asking them. And I think on both their parts, there could have been a lot of assumption bases about where each other are at. Now, only reason why I say that is because I'm just using Desmond's information, and that could be wrong and to be led with a grain of salt. That he was trying to let Kristy know that it was over, and maybe, don't know, Kristy, if you ever watched this, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just saying what I think, and please correct me. Maybe he said this was in. Maybe she wanted to fight a little bit more. And sometimes I definitely think it is a rom-com to pull through, but sometimes you do have to listen to folks. Now, that doesn't excuse what Desmond did, and I'll get onto Desmond in a moment. But I think there are times when we are in career full mode, we sacrifice quality with the person with efficiency. Now, when I say that is, I think there are moments where in that marriage they both weren't hearing each other due to what they thought they knew, and without really taking that time to really sit and be curious and to really understand. Now, obviously, my thoughts will change if I have new information, but one of the things I can surmise is maybe Desmond was tired of the family content. Maybe he wanted, to do something different. But once again, if that's the bread and butter, if it ain't broke, we not gonna fix it. Now, who am I to say that maybe Kristy wasn't trying to do that and maybe Desmond was too far gone? But one of the things that can happen when you kind of get into that rut in that efficiency pit within a marriage is you're afraid to disrupt the status quo. And disrupting the status quo is maybe posting less or doing something different. And maybe that could have been communicated differently. Now, on the flip side, Desmond, even though that your needs maybe weren't being met or weren't being expressed, stepping out on someone you really care about is never the answer. I say this because I think as men, we lack positive role models to what treating a good woman is like in a relationship, outside of a relationship. So I do appreciate him taking accountability for what he has done. But I think to really have Kristy hear you, I don't think you needed to put her in that kind of position. And that also I can attribute to maybe the TMZ video. Not too many days after your divorce, you're having a night on the town. Now, I'm saying this, nor I am a perfect human being or a perfect guy, but it's like even after moving on, there is a era of protecting yours. Now, once again, I have to keep saying this because we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's happened. We are figuring out the aftermath because I don't think we'll truly ever know the story. But one thing I do know is, and I think you know this, Desmond, is that you hurt Kristy so much, and you hurt her in a way that she might not ever get over. But I definitely think there is a path forward, and I think that path forward is really reinventing yourself. And what I mean by reinventing yourself, it's being the fellow co-parent and being, the guy that she needs. And when I say the guy that she needs is you might have to hold those shoulders firm as she kind of processes the loss of the relationship. And I'm even reluctant to say loss of a relationship. It's the loss of the marriage because you guys will always have the relationship because you both have gone through so many trials and tribulations. But can we still show for each other if we're not there for each other in that romantic way? And I think that starts with blocking out all the pettiness. I think in this time, it's because I still see you guys as a strong family. It's about showing that strong unit, even if that romantic part is absent. Now, when we kind of look at it, right, and we kind of super break it down, right, I think Desmond's doing a really good job of not paying attention to the noise and trying to do what's best for himself. I think he should definitely take this time because sometimes sometimes when we are unhappy, we fall into this fool's gold, and that is the grass is greener on the other side. And sometimes it's not, especially in this day and age. It's very hard to find someone to build with, someone who's going to try to reach you. And I think some things in relationships, besides the cheating, is workable. I'm a marriage counselor. I work with a lot of people who see no hope in their marriage. And I always say that how you try matters. Now, Desmond, I don't know, you might run it back, but I definitely think if you do run it back, there's got to be some integrity. And when I mean integrity, I'm more or less meaning like, or like maybe there was a time where you felt completely shut down by Kristy. And maybe there's an aspect where being quiet and just going with the flow isn't what is needed for a marriage to evolve. It's about, am I willing to rock the boat to get my needs met? Because it's romantic and sexy when you say what you need. Because when you quietly go with the status quo, you start to build resentment. And maybe that was what this was, where that resentment and that integrity I'm talking about. Desmond, I think you kind of know this. You were, I don't want to say the poster child, but you were a lot of that. I believe Desmond represented the pinnacle of what a lot of men hope and strive to be with their girl. Now, once again, going back to my original point, pedestalizing. People on the internet, whether you share your relationship, you got to understand that these are real people. We got to be careful with the words that we say. And a marriage ending is not a sport. It's not picking sides. People's lives. So it's not a game. And maybe with this talk today, hopefully I empowered you all to understand that there's no perfect marriage. The only marriage that's a functioning marriage is a marriage that's willing to work. And remember, don't sit there in silence. Don't let resentment build, because a building of resentment leads to a whole lot of interesting behaviors. And when I say interesting behaviors, stuff that's not you, stuff that can be talked about. So I want to say I really appreciate you, Kristy and Desmond, for giving us, the world, the internet, an opportunity of what it looked like for a marriage to be functional, to have business together. And what you guys did was phenomenal. And those are memories that will last for the test of time. And I definitely think in a different way that you both can still have a strong family unit. And I just hope that you both don't give into the pettiness, because the pettiness is not you, it's your real lives. And I really hope that you both are taking the proper measures to heal. And maybe my message or maybe my video may reach the both of you, and who knows, maybe I might be your therapist to help you both through this. But I really want you all to know that, we really appreciate what you showed to us and gave us a framework. And my hope is you both can find some peace, and who knows, you might both run it back. And if you do, we hope that you both are truly heard, and you understand that you both don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. And every relationship deserves someone who has radical honesty and radical generosity, so you can be the best version of yourself. So if you like what we're doing, like, comment, subscribe. Every new like for one video, one new comment, that really helps us out. And hopefully I empowered you to talk to your spouse. Hopefully I empowered you not to feel like you are a power couple. Take that pressure off yourself. You don't have to be that. Just be you. Make it fun for the both of you.